Hey you guys, I am running to UPS and FedEx to drop off some packages that I need to ship from my Facebook sales. And so I was going to be in the car for a little bit. So I thought that I would just film a video because I've got some stuff on my mind. And you guys seem to like the videos where I'm yakking in a car. So here's another one. I can always tell when I have an influx of new viewers, specifically new viewers that are wanting to get started with reselling. And I've been seeing another question that keeps popping up, and that's what's kind of prompting me to make this video. Not for the newer resellers, but to just, I guess, kind of re-encourage more experienced sellers as well. And I think it could be a little bit re-encouraging for sellers that have been around a while because you might be feeling a little bit defeated as of late. I know that a lot of platforms are just not really behaving the way they used to. They're not producing the same results. You're not yielding the same amount of sales as maybe you once were. But then on the other side of that spectrum, you might be a seller who's absolutely killing it right now. And if you are, I'm so happy for you. But for the sellers that are maybe feeling a little bit defeated, or for people who are wanting to become a seller because maybe you need an extra form of income, I want to answer the question, is it actually possible for you to make money reselling today, as in 2024, 2025, because I know it's late in the year, might as well be in 2025 at this point. Is it still possible to make money reselling as of today, just like it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 1 year ago? Is it still possible? I hear this question and I can't help but think to myself, well, yeah, why wouldn't it be? And I think that that question comes from a lot of people struggling with getting sales, a lot of people struggling with getting inventory because maybe the typical honey holes that they were used to sourcing in, maybe they're just a little bit overpriced now. And because markets have shifted, maybe you are unable to pull the same kind of profits that you once were. Like maybe if you were selling something you were once able to source for $5 for $20, and now the market for that item is no longer $20, instead it is $15, and your cost is now $10. So now those two are too close. You can't make enough profit anymore. I know markets are shifting. I know that platforms are changing, and not all of them for the better. I think that that question is now coming from, is it still possible, as in it feels like a futile attempt. It feels like a waste of time. It feels like, why should I even bother getting started? Well, I'm going to tell you why you should bother getting started right after I take these two massive packages into the UPS store. I'll be right back. All right, now I'm going to drive all the way to FedEx. All the way to FedEx. I know. Why? Why are you driving to both UPS and FedEx, Lindy? It's because I promised my customers the cheapest possible rate that I can find. So the boxes I'm dropping off today are actually my Facebook customers that don't live here locally. So if you're new to my channel and you didn't know, my primary method of selling online and in person is through Facebook, not through Facebook Marketplace, but a business Facebook page where I have customers that follow the page and buy as I post items for sale daily. This year, I did start shipping to customers, so I do have a lot of customers that do not live here locally, and a lot of them like to buy lots of stuff from me, which I greatly appreciate. But that means big boxes, heavy boxes. And so I have to find them the best rate. And so sometimes UPS is the best rate. Sometimes FedEx is the best rate, because I do not inflate the shipping for Facebook at all on eBay. I just allow eBay to charge the customers whatever, shipping eBay's gonna charge. And then if I pay less, then I pay less. If I don't, I don't. When it comes to my Facebook customers though, if anything, I always round down for them. Like a lot of the boxes that went UPS were maybe $1 or $2 actually more for the shipping label than I charged, but it's just because I want to make sure my customers get the best price, because they're buying a lot of stuff from me and I want them to feel comfortable buying, like they're not going to have to, be gouged on shipping. So now we're venturing to FedEx. Anyway, what was I talking about? I've probably said this in other videos, but I'm going to say it again, and I'm sure that it's going to be even more true tomorrow than it is today, because today it's more true than it was yesterday. There is not not a better time to get started with reselling than right now. Here's why. We all need extra money. We all need extra money. When I first started reselling, me personally, when I first started reselling, I first started because I needed to make extra money from home. The money coming in from full-time jobs was just not enough. At the time, my husband at the time, we were a one-income family and it just was not paying the bills. And so I started reselling in order to, help keep the lights on and help keep food in the cabinets. Ooh, I might have to go get gas too. Hopefully I can make it to FedEx without running on empty. Yikes. And then reselling just, turned into a full-time gig for me. It was no longer a side hustle. It was a primary way that I made money. And I loved it. I love working for me. I love how making money with reselling just feels magical. I've always said that. It feels like magic. It's like making money appear out of thin air. You buy something for one price, you sell it for another, and then you make money appear as if out of nowhere. I love it. But now more than ever, people need extra money. Inflation is through the roof. I'm not going to bring politics into this. You don't have to look at the news to see that the prices of everything it's up everywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if we started getting charged just for breathing oxygen, you know what I mean? And a lot of people are having to work 2 and 3 jobs, and that's not always feasible for people. So something like reselling is definitely a way that people can bring in extra money and do it in, spare pockets of time. I'm not trying to sound like a multi-level marketing hun or anything. Work in pockets of time and do all these things. Do your own schedule and do your own thing. No, that's a bunch of hoopla. That's not true. But with reselling, it is. With reselling, it is. You can really do it in your own pockets of time. If you want to list 2 items on eBay every 74.5 minutes, that's what you can do. You sell when you can. You can put stipulations on when you ship things. You can choose whether or not you want to have packages picked up at your house or drop them off at the post office. You have a lot of control in reselling. So now, while a lot of people might think that the profits are basically non-existent with reselling right now, I beg to differ. I think that anyone who might think that there's no money to be made in reselling anymore, I think anybody who might think that is just not willing to adapt. Being a reseller is honestly like being any other entrepreneur, where you have to be willing to adapt to market changes. And if you're not willing to adapt to market changes, you're not going to see the results that you once saw. You're always going to see a shift in the market. You're always going to see a shift in profits. And if you're not willing to adapt, then maybe it's not for you. And I'm not just talking about the prices that items are selling at, and I'm not talking about the costs associated with purchasing an item for resale, but I'm also talking about market shifts with platforms. I've said for years, if you're going to sell on someone else's selling platform, you have to play by their rules. It's their sandbox that you're playing in after all. And if they decide to change a policy, or if they decide to charge you more for selling on that platform, it's just something that you're going to have to figure out. If postal rates keep going up, you're going to have to find a way to adapt. You're going to have to figure out, okay, am I going to continue to do free shipping, no free shipping. I am anti-free shipping. But if you do free shipping, if postage rates keep going up, you have to think, okay, am I still going to continue free shipping? Am I going to start charging shipping now? Am I just going to add these new seller fees into the cost of my item to make sure that my profits stay the same? You have to be willing to adapt. You can't just keep doing the same thing and then complain that your profits aren't what they once were. And so in order to adapt, I would challenge you to think outside the box. And I'm going to do that after I take this box into FedEx. Now, where was I? I'm going to need to go get gas, which is perfect because I'm not done talking yet. So, thinking outside the box, let me tell you what I mean. I think that a lot of people who are aspiring to be a reseller might watch YouTube videos, or they belong to different Facebook groups where they're learning to sell on a specific platform, and they might almost have blinders on, and they think that being a reseller is strictly limited to selling on a certain marketplace like eBay or Amazon or Poshmark or Mercari or whatnot even. I think that a lot of people get a little bit of tunnel vision when they think about becoming a reseller because they think that to be a reseller, you have to sell on one of these online platforms. And I think something, and this is what some of my viewers have said, so if this is you, you know it's you. A lot of my viewers have been saying that they want to get started with reselling, but they're really afraid to take that leap because these selling platforms are so intimidating. They feel like there's so much to learn. They're worried that they're going to mess something up. They're going to input the incorrect shipping information. They're going to end up having to overpay for shipping, and then they lose out on their profits, and then they're trying to make money, and instead they're losing money because they keep making mistakes. And so it's this fear of messing up that is causing them to not even get started. So this is where I would challenge you. If you are one of those people who is not yet getting started with reselling because the platform that you think you want to get started on is a little too intimidating for you, or if you're a seller who is already selling on one of these platforms and you are just simply not getting the desired results that you want anymore, let me challenge you to think about this. Think about instead reselling in its simplest form. In its simplest form, what exactly do I mean? I mean local in-person sales. I mean selling on Facebook Marketplace. No, you don't have to jump into having a Facebook business page like I do. That took years of growing in order to sell at the level that I'm selling at now. I did have to start somewhere. I did not start with that many followers. You know, I started selling on that page with only about 30 people. But you don't have to start with something like a business Facebook page. You can simply start with Facebook Marketplace. If you don't like the idea of selling on Facebook Marketplace, consider doing something like a yard sale. I think a lot of people don't even consider a yard sale even being an option. You know, before I moved here, where I'm currently living, before I lived here, the town that I lived in, I had a regular monthly yard sale. That was one of the two ways that I resold. I sold on eBay, and then I sold locally in a once a month, one weekend a month blowout right out of my garage. And my yard sales were the talk of the town, let me tell you. I had so many people coming to my yard sales. People freaking loved it. I was getting to the point where I was doing $2,000 in one yard sale a month. Now, granted, most of that was just for cash flow. I was making most of my actual profits on eBay, but reselling those little onesies and twosies locally is what funded my ability to buy my next pallet or buy my next liquidation box or be able to take it out and go sourcing. Yard sales were the ability for me to do that. I think a lot of people associate having a garage sale or a yard sale with just getting rid of your own personal private junk. I've seen so many people turn yard sales or garage sales into businesses, like regular businesses. I've seen people buy Amazon pallets and put stuff out on tables and basically have their own little bin store right out of their garage. And frankly, I'm really amazed that more people don't talk about doing that. Now, I do understand that depending on where you live, you may or may not be able to do that. Like, for instance, you might live in a real rural area where you don't have a lot of people that would be able to easily come to your house to do a yard sale. You might not want to have people come to your house. You might have city restrictions that forbid you from doing too many yard sales. For instance, where I live, I can only have 2 yard sales a year, but I am thinking about doing them. I don't know. I am undecided. I am undecided because I have so many other ways that I'm selling now. I don't know if I want to throw yard sales back into the mix or not. But I feel like yard sales are definitely a way of reselling that is not just lucrative, because it can bring a lot of customers to you very, very quickly, but it's easy. So, okay, hold on. Let me preface easy with not being a lot of work. Yard sales are a lot of work. They are a lot of work, don't get me wrong. I remember being exhausted at the end of mine. But in terms of learning a platform, listing items, photographing items, storing items, pricing items, shipping items, dealing with customer service. Yard sales are so much easier. You just put the stuff out there, you let people buy it, all sales are final. There's no learning involved with doing something like a yard sale. And then if you like the idea of doing a yard sale or garage sale, but you don't want people coming to your house, or maybe you live in a rural area where it just doesn't make sense, you could think about doing something like a flea market booth. I have several customers that actually have flea market booths, and they buy from me to fill their booth. Of course, they don't exclusively buy from me, but there's a few items that they will buy from me and put in their flea market booth. And they absolutely love having their flea market booth. They just simply put items in there, they price them, and they just wait for them to sell. That's it. It's basically like having a yard sale that's not at your house, that's always set up. So you don't have to like set it up and then tear it down however often you have yard sales. You just set it up and you keep it up. There's traveling flea markets. I've done that before. That is a little bit more involved because you do have to set up and tear down within a short time period. I have even seen people set up little mini yard sales out of a trailer or the back of their truck just in a random parking lot. And they'll just like hang a banner or something on the side of their truck, and they'll be like Pokemon cards for sale or baseball caps or Let's Go Brandon t-shirts. I've seen a ton of those popping up all over the place, but they'll just basically park their vehicle with their merchandise and just sell out of a parking lot. And I think that that takes some guts. Do I think I'm gutsy enough to do that? No. But if that's how you want to do it, make that money, honey. Another way that you can be a reseller that you might not have thought about, if you're not wanting to sell on a traditional platform, is to be a personal shopper. That is something I really haven't talked a lot about on my channel, but it is something that I personally do. It's something that I have kind of developed from having my business Facebook page. I have, a handful of customers that ask me to look out for certain things for them when I'm outsourcing, whether I'm doing retail arbitrage or I'm at bin stores. They want me to look out for particular things. Like I have one customer, she wants me to look out for mason jars for her, or blackout curtains. Those are her two big things. So anytime I'm at the bin store, if I see blackout curtains, I will grab them if they fit in her criteria of a certain length or color. If I find mason jars that I am able to source, we have an agreed dollar amount where she pays me X amount per dozen jars, and if I can source them for less than that, I can make a profit on it. So if I'm able to find, a dozen mason jars at the bin store for $4 and she's willing to pay me $15 for every dozen, then there I've instantly made profit. I just go ahead and buy things. That's kind of what I mean by personal shopping. I think I've seen some people make Facebook groups where they do personal shopping on a group level. I'm not exactly sure how that works. I might have to investigate that a little bit further. Or if you want to fall down a rabbit hole and see how exactly that works, I do know that it is something that people have been doing, where they create a Facebook group and they're like, hey, let me be your personal shopper. What kind of stuff are you looking for? And then they find those items and they post them to the group, and then maybe people claim items in that group. That could be kind of a fun group idea. Maybe I should start one. See, now talking to you guys, I'm getting all these ideas. Should I start a personal shopping Facebook group? Let me know down in the comments. Is that a good idea? Should I do that? I think I've seen other people do that. Maybe I should do that. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know. Is that a good idea? Bad idea? Let me know what you think. Something else that you can do, and I know a lot of people are against this, but think about it outside the box. Remember, we're thinking outside the box. Sell to your family and friends. So like I've previously mentioned, my preferred way of selling now is on a business Facebook page. And a lot of people don't have a business Facebook page with a following yet. They might want to get started doing something like that, but they don't necessarily have a following yet. But if you are on Facebook and you already have friends and family that are on your personal page, maybe try selling on there to them. You know, maybe try posting to your page even just 3 items. Like if you go to a bin store, or if you go out thrifting, or if you go out sourcing, if you find a really cute dress, maybe you could try posting a really cute dress that you find on your page, and you could say, oh my gosh, you guys, I found this really gorgeous cocktail dress. It's a size 12. I'm selling it for $10 if anybody wants it. See if any of your family or friends would be willing to buy from you. You don't have to sell to strangers. Who knows? Maybe some of your family and friends can turn into your own personal private shopping customers. The point I'm trying to get at is that reselling is not just about selling items on eBay or selling items on Amazon. There are lots of ways that you can sell items to make money. All you have to be willing to do is go out and find stuff at a low enough cost where you can turn a profit when you sell it. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. All right, I gotta pump some gas. I can't do anything else with an empty tank. Also, with all of those additional bonus ways of selling I just gave you, that is another reason why reselling today is so much easier than it was even 5 years ago. There's so many more options now. So many more people are willing to go to these platforms and buy from smaller sellers now. A lot of the times there are resellers that are willing to go on platforms just to support other sellers. I don't know about where you live, but where I live, a lot of people are now focused so much more on shopping small versus shopping at a big box retailer. I think a lot of people are really starting to migrate not just to online selling platforms where they might be able to buy from a smaller seller, but they're also migrating to things like Facebook because people are looking to get a good deal by buying secondhand. You know, someone might be able to find something that they use at Walmart, but it's cheaper if they buy it from somebody like me on Facebook. Resellers can also do a service for people. Resellers, if they are savvy enough to source merchandise at a low enough cost, they can then pass those savings on to their customers, which as much as people are needing to make extra money right now, people are also needing to save money on their essentials. So if you are a savvy enough shopper where you can buy something cheap enough to also sell it to a customer at a discount, it's a win-win for everybody. You make some profit, they get a good deal, and likely they'll be able to become a repeat customer if you are doing this kind of thing on a regular basis. Also, do not think that being a reseller means that you have to make a full-time income overnight. Try selling 1 or 2 items on Facebook a week. Let that reselling bug bite you a little bit. You know, I know that reselling bug bit my 18-year-old son. My son sold his first pair of shoes on Depop, I think it was. I've never sold on Depop, but he sold a pair of shoes on Depop and he got bit by that reselling bug, and then it was all he could talk about. Now, is he a full-fledged reseller making a full-time income overnight after selling 1 pair of shoes on Depop? No, but selling 1 or 2 things at a time gives you the ability to learn, and it also fuels the fun aspect of being a reseller. The magical part of being a reseller, like I mentioned, is like making money appear. You know, my son saw that firsthand. He was kind of like, holy cow, my balance was 0 and now there's $14 in it. This is amazing. It's so amazing. It's $14. Just get started. Don't let the fear of an intimidating platform or is it possible to still be a reseller? There's so many people struggling reselling right now. Something else I didn't even think to mention was people think that there are too many resellers, that there's too much competition. You guys, there can never be too much competition in the reselling space. Now, could there be too much competition with a specific product? Yes, that is very possible. If 1 million people are all selling 1 phone case, it's very likely none of those people except for 1 or 2 is going to even sell a phone case, and they're probably going to be the cheapest ones on whatever platform they're selling on. That's why you have to get creative. You have to sell multiple different kind of items. You have to be able to source them cheap enough in order to turn a profit and give someone a good deal. And you have to be creative with how you're selling, because if you're selling on a platform that's just not producing results for you, got to think outside the box and try something else. There are so many different ways to make money reselling, And it's something that I think we all need right now. Am I right? Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this rambling video was helpful. If it was, make sure to hit that thumbs up before you leave. I greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to check the video description. I always put a lot of useful information in there, including the link to my business Facebook page if you want to go see how I am personally selling on Facebook in real time. I do also ship items. So, I mean, as you saw, I had big boxes and things. So if you see something on that page that you would like and it's still available, you can join in on the fun and just put sold in the comments. I do also have my nut and candy website in there as well. Did you guys know that I have a nut and candy website? Yeah, I roast all my own nuts. I need to have a t-shirt that says that I roast all my own nuts. So you can go check out what kind of snacks and nuts and candies I sell online, as well as in person at local flea markets and events. If you are not yet subscribed, please remember to subscribe before you leave and ring that notification bell. That way you're notified whenever I post my next video. If you have any questions or comments for me, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you with my next video. Bye.